What is that?
It's your Stargate.
The gate powers up, ancient symbols lock into place, and suddenly, a rushing vortex of what appears to be water erupts from the circular device. A portal to another world opens before our eyes. This iconic moment from 1994's Stargate perfectly captures the film's unique appeal. A seamless blend of ancient Egyptian mythology and cutting-edge science fiction. Released in October 1994, Stargate arrived during an interesting transition in Hollywood sci-fi. Just a year after Jurassic Park revolutionized CGI and 2 years before Independence Day would cement the summer blockbuster formula, Stargate occupied a unique middle ground. With a substantial $55 million budget and eventually grossing nearly $200 million worldwide, the film proved commercially successful despite receiving mixed reviews from critics. What many didn't anticipate was how this standalone film would eventually spawn one of the most expansive science fiction universes in television history. But before diving into its impressive legacy, we need to understand what made the original film so captivating. At its core, Stargate posed a compelling question. What if the ancient Egyptian gods weren't deities at all, but advanced aliens who visited Earth thousands of years ago? This premise, while not entirely original, was executed with such visual grandeur and narrative commitment that it created something genuinely fresh in the sci-fi landscape. The film's lasting impact comes from its perfect storm of elements. Roland Emmerich's eye for spectacle, strong performances from an unlikely cast, groundbreaking visual effects that still impress today, and a story that tapped into our eternal fascination with ancient civilizations and the stars. Today, we'll explore how this unexpected hit created not just a memorable film, but an entire mythology that continues to resonate with audiences nearly 3 decades later. You know what still gives me chills when I rewatch Stargate? That incredible moment when the team first steps through the portal. The way the camera follows James Spader as he touches that shimmering blue surface, his face full of wonder, and then boom! We're suddenly hurled through this crazy wormhole effect across the universe. It's like the ultimate roller coaster ride through space, and somehow 30 years later, it still looks awesome. What's wild is that the famous water effect of the Stargate wasn't some fancy CGI trick. The production team literally filmed actual water upside down and then added some digital elements. That's why it has this realistic, mesmerizing quality that even modern films struggle to match. Pretty clever for 1994, right? Roland Emmerich really brought his A-game with the visuals in this film. Those sweeping shots of the desert planet with 3 moons hanging in the sky, pure movie magic. And the way he frames the massive Egyptian-style pyramid with a spaceship on top against the dunes, absolutely iconic. The film constantly plays with scale. Tiny humans against enormous alien structures, creating this perfect sense of awe and discovery. The production wasn't all smooth sailing, though. The crew had to deal with brutal Arizona desert conditions during filming. Temperatures regularly hit over 100 degrees. Equipment got clogged with sand, and the team had to constantly stay hydrated. James Spader actually passed out from heat exhaustion during one scene, but all that suffering paid off with authentic-looking desert sequences that really sell the alien world. What I love most about the film's visual approach is how it balances the high-tech with the ancient. The alien technology has this ornate, ceremonial quality, like the Death Gliders and Ra's mask that mechanically folds and unfolds. It's technology designed to look magical to primitive humans, which is such a clever storytelling device. The film also nails the fish out of water scenario when our modern military team encounters this ancient but advanced civilization. The scene where the local people first see O'Neill's lighter and think it's magic perfectly captures this clash of worlds in a way that's both funny and thought-provoking, Honestly, it's pretty amazing how well Stargate holds up today. While some 90s sci-fi looks painfully dated, the practical effects, models, and restrained use of early CGI give Stargate a timeless quality that still works for modern viewers. That's the mark of truly innovative filmmaking, when your creative solutions outlive the technology of your time. So let's talk about the people who really brought Stargate to life. First up, Kurt Russell as Colonel Jack O'Neill. Man, this wasn't your typical Kurt Russell action role. Instead of going full Big Trouble and Little China mode, he gives us this deeply wounded military man who's basically on a suicide mission because his son accidentally shot himself with Russell's own gun. There's this scene where he sits alone in his son's bedroom that just hits you in the gut. Russell plays O'Neill with this restrained, simmering pain that gradually transforms into purpose as the mission unfolds. Then you've got James Spader as Dr. Daniel Jackson. Before he was Raymond Reddington or Ultron, Spader was this perfectly awkward, sneezing, stammering genius who couldn't even keep an apartment but could crack an interstellar code no one had solved for decades. What I love about Spader's performance is how he makes Jackson's intelligence feel real. Not Hollywood smart, but genuinely thinking through problems smart. When he finally figures out that the symbols aren't words but constellations, his excitement is so contagious you can't help but cheer for this underdog academic. But let's be honest, the most fascinating casting choice was Jay Davidson as Ray. Fresh off his gender-bending role in The Crying Game, Davidson brings this otherworldly, androgynous quality to the alien god that's simultaneously beautiful and terrifying. The story goes that Davidson didn't even want to do another film, so they had to offer him $1 million to take the role, which was a huge sum back then. His limited screen time makes each appearance count, especially that reveal when his helmet mechanically retracts to show his human but not quite human face. The film's most powerful scenes blend character work with spectacle. Take the moment when Jackson first makes contact with the planet's people by drawing a simple circle in the sand, universal language at its most basic. Or when O'Neill, initially ready to blow up an entire civilization, finds redemption by helping free these people instead. There's something special about how the film balances its big ideas with personal connections. What doesn't get enough credit is how Stargate actually gives its alien civilization real dimension. Millie Avital as Shayuri brings genuine emotion to what could have been just another alien princess role. When she and Jackson struggle to understand each other, learning words like fear and love, there's an authentic sweetness that grounds all the high-concept sci-fi around them. These performances create the emotional core that helps Stargate transcend typical sci-fi adventure fare. The characters feel like real people thrown into an extraordinary situation, not just action figures moving through exotic backdrops. And that human element is exactly why so many fans connected deeply enough with this world to support multiple TV series for years to come. It's kind of funny to look back at how critics absolutely roasted Stargate when it first came out. Roger Ebert gave it 1 out of 4 stars. He basically called it a conventional mummy movie with fancy special effects. Most reviewers just saw it as a big, dumb sci-fi action flick. But here's the thing. Audiences didn't care what critics thought. They showed up in droves, making the film a surprise box office hit. What's really interesting is how Stargate evolved after its theater run. The home video market gave it a second life, and that's when something unexpected happened. Instead of fading away, like most mid-90s action films, Stargate kept finding new fans. The film actually exists in a bunch of different versions. The theatrical cut runs about 121 minutes, but there's also a director's cut and an ultimate edition with extra scenes that add more depth to the characters and story. Each version has its defenders, but the longer cuts definitely help flesh out the mythology. And talk about a slow burn success story. 3 years after the movie, Showtime launched Stargate SG-1 as a TV series, something nobody predicted when the film was struggling with critics. Even crazier, that show ran for 10 seasons. Then came Stargate Atlantis for 5 seasons and Stargate Universe for 2 more. A single film somehow spawned 17 seasons of television, plus novels, comics, and games. That's gotta be one of the most unexpected franchise expansions in Hollywood history. There are some fascinating details most casual viewers missed in the film. The production team actually worked with linguist Stuart Tyson Smith to create a realistic ancient Egyptian language for the movie. Not just gibberish like many films use. The military aspects received special attention too, though real-life Air Force advisors had concerns about accuracy, which they later fixed in the TV series. Oh, and get this. The original plan included a theatrical sequel that would have ignored the TV show completely. Emmerich and Devlin had mapped out a whole different direction for the Stargate story, but studio politics shelved those plans. Sometimes I wonder what that alternate Stargate universe would have looked like. The most remarkable aspect of the film's reception is this weird split personality it developed. Critics dismissed it while everyday sci-fi fans embraced it. Academics wrote it off for its ancient aliens premise, while mythology buffs appreciated its creative take on Egyptian gods. It's like Stargate found this perfect middle ground, smart enough to respect its audience, but accessible enough for anyone to enjoy on a Saturday night. And that balanced approach is exactly why we're still talking about it today, decades after those harsh reviews faded away. You know what's really wild about Stargate? This movie that many wrote off as a one-and-done sci-fi flick created a universe that rivals Star Trek in scope. 17 seasons of television, people. That's over 350 episodes across 3 different shows: SG-1, Atlantis, and Universe. When you think about cultural staying power, that's seriously impressive for what started as a standalone film. The influence of Stargate on science fiction storytelling can't be overstated. While the ancient aliens built the pyramids idea existed before, Stargate popularized it in a way that spawned countless History Channel specials and inspired a generation of sci-fi creators. The whole concept of finding ancient technology left by advanced civilizations became a major sci-fi trope. You can see its DNA in everything from Mass Effect video games to Prometheus. What really set Stargate apart was how it combined military science fiction with archaeology and mythology. Before this film, those elements rarely mixed. After Stargate, we got a whole subgenre of stories featuring scientific military teams exploring alien ruins and ancient mysteries. The film created a template for blending action, adventure, and intellectual discovery that countless works have followed. In today's media landscape of reboots and revivals, Stargate feels ripe for rediscovery. We're living in an era where streaming services are desperate for established franchises with built-in audiences. And with the massive success of sci-fi shows on streaming platforms, it feels like only a matter of time before someone reopens the gate. There have been rumors of reboots for years, but nothing concrete has materialized yet. What makes Stargate still relevant today is how it tapped into our timeless fascination with 2 fundamental questions. Where did we come from? And are we alone in the universe? The film suggests that these questions might have the same answer, an idea that continues to captivate us. In an age where space exploration is making new, breakthroughs and archaeological discoveries constantly reshape our understanding of ancient civilizations. Stargate's premise feels as compelling as ever. The film's approach to cultural contact also feels surprisingly modern. While it does fall into some white savior tropes, it also shows respect for the alien civilization's agency and portrays communication barriers realistically. This nuanced approach to cross-cultural interaction seems ahead of its time for a mid-90s action movie. When I rewatch Stargate today, I'm struck by how it balances spectacle with genuine wonder. In an era of cynical, irony-laden blockbusters, there's something refreshing about a film that allows its characters to be genuinely amazed by discovery. That sense of awe, watching Spader's face as he first understands what the Stargate is, captures the pure joy of science fiction at its best. So next time you're scrolling through streaming services looking for something to watch, maybe give Stargate another look. This unlikely hit that critics dismissed has outlasted many of its flashier contemporaries to become one of science fiction's most enduring stories. The gate may have opened in 1994, but the journey it started is far from over. What's your favorite moment from Stargate? Was it your gateway into the larger franchise, or have you only seen the original film? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the sci-fi classics that shaped our imagination. Until next time, keep looking to the stars, and maybe the ancient ruins beneath your feet.